Let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
That's the signal! Go!
Six!
It's beautiful! Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
And rolling on a Thursday. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. Give this video a like and set those notifications so you know when we go live. Follow us on X at Rush Mornings, like our Facebook page, and of course you can also follow us on Instagram. Good morning, Ross Peterson. What's going on?
Good morning, buddy. What you know. I love that, and that's funny because Tony even wrote it in the chat already. My favorite part of the opening is let's make lemonade.
Let's go to work. Let's go to work. You know, it's interesting because I know the 5-minute countdown is fairly long, but I like that 5 minutes. It's kind of like this, you're in the locker room by yourself. I'm equating this to like a prize fight, right? I'm a heavyweight boxer in the locker room, ready to come out, walk down the aisle. And so I use that 5 minutes, and then that last minute is that kind of pulsating, here we go, we're getting closer. And then it's and then Tropic Thunder comes on, and I'm ready to go.
See, this is why I love you, because you do things to my brain.
Oh, really?
Oh. Do you have a favorite walkout? Like, I mean, obviously, the fake one is Hulk Hogan, right?
Yes.
I am a real
American.
Starts real slow and ominous.
We were like Simon and Garfunkel right there.
Yeah,
we did. How we harmonized?
And that would obviously, and then he comes out and he's like pointing around and doing the finger guns and all that. That's cool, right?
Yeah.
And then the polar opposite was Mike Tyson, where Mike Tyson would come out with he had a towel with a slit in it, and the towel went over his head. And then other than that, he was in his boxing. He was ready to fight. He was told there was no robe. The dude just walked out with his glare was what he was wearing. His stare of like, I'm going to destroy you in seconds.
It was an intimidation thing, right? Very, very intimidating?
Very intimidating.
Yes.
And then remember what he would also do? Like the one I remember was Peter McNeely when he first got out of prison and he had to fight that poor dude from Boston had to fight him. Remember that guy?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You know what I remember about Peter McNeely was Don King. Always talking about Peter McNeely.
Yeah.
Is Don King, is he dead or is he alive? Is Don King alive?
You mean my friend Don King?
Yeah.
Do you mean my friend?
Yeah, your friend
That
Don
picture
King.
right there is me and Don King.
I can't remember if Don King is alive or dead. Ross is walking over because he wants to show all the YouTube viewers.
My friend Tommy was mad at me yesterday for not showing enough sports memorabilia in the background anyway. Right?
Yeah.
So here, I'm going to show you some sports memorabilia.
Okay.
This is me with my fist up to Don King. Like that?
Yeah. You haven't changed a bit. You look almost exactly the same. Look, that's pretty darn close. I'll give you that. For those of you listening on the stream, we apologize that you can't see it, but
you just missed a picture of me
with
knocking
Don King.
out Don King.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Peter McNeely, I remember Tyson staring through him. He just stood there, and Peter McNeely was bouncing back and forth and, like, getting ready. And Tyson went like this. It was like, oh, he's going to destroy this guy.
And I think he did destroy Peter McNeely, right?
Yeah. I remember watching that one in Iowa State. I couldn't tell you where I was for a lot of Tyson fights. But for some reason, when you said that thing about I'm backstage, we're getting ready for got to get ready to go. All right, how to get myself ready. This is my moment. That put me in that mindset of like, because I've watched a lot of UFC fights and there have been some great, that's another one too. you can glean some stuff. When that camera goes backstage, if the dude's standing back there smiling, you're like, oh, his night's over.
Okay, so you talk about that mental preparation. You were at state wrestling last night.
Yeah.
And I was watching over in my neck of the woods, I was watching the Nebraska Girls State Wrestling Championships, right? And they would do introductions. Now, it wouldn't be an actual walk-up with music, but they would introduce the wrestlers, and they would do like a sprint from the locker room onto the mat. And you kind of see how they're, if you're just mentally in it.
You get I don't want to say none, but very little of that at the tournament because you have 8 mats happening.
Yeah.
And so the announcer is not like constantly announcing, but not every bout gets announced. Some of them it's on deck on mat 3. It's Travis Justice from Tri-Center Neola, Ross Peterson, Des Moines East. Stand ready. But every once in a while you'll get a thing where it's like, now up on mat number 2, Justice from Neola, Peterson, East, that sort of thing. But that's not nearly like what you're talking about. The coolest thing that I've ever done with that, when the NAIA National Championships were in town, and I was on an announcing team with Casper and a few other people, and that was cool. That was like a huge production. The dudes were running out with pyrotechnics. And again, it's not WWF where the guy's walking down there, pumping up the crowd. When you announce his name, that dude's ready to fight. He's racing to the mat to shake hands and go to battle.
So, how was the state wrestling tournament yesterday?
It was state wrestling, man. It is what it's a fun environment. You get to see some really high level wrestling. My nephew lost his first bout last night. He had a bye. He had won his district, so he had a bye. Lost his first one, but he'll be wrestling again today in the consolation second round. So
what time did you get there? Because did he wrestle the last match of the night?
Basically, when he wrapped up, a couple of the mats were empty, so he was almost the last match of the night. So we left there about 9:30. We got there at 6, left about 9:30. But dude, for a wrestling parent sitting around for 3 hours to watch one match, that's common.
Well, that's true, and that's commitment on your point. On your,
I'm not kidding. I got a chance to see Reagan last night and talk to him and tell him this. I've never been more excited for a state wrestling tournament in my life. Like to have a kid there that you've known his whole life. That was really cool. That was really, really cool. And I would not have missed that for the world last night. That was really a cool experience. I wish I could be down there again tonight to cheer him on.
Did I see you didn't sit with the common people yesterday?
I did not
sit with the common people?
I mingled. I mingled with the commons.
And then you just kind of disappeared in with the non-common.
I washed my hands, and then I went back upstairs. Yeah,
Ross was sitting in a suite at Wells Fargo Arena.
Thanks to our friends at Choice Creative, by the way.
Listen, I would take the same route. I'd be like, oh, there's room to walk around. There's a private bathroom. I'm going to the suite.
Well, I'll be honest, dude. I think what I did was I overestimated the 2A wrestling crowd. I could have just bought tickets and went. I thought
why
it would
spend money if you don't have to?
But I reached out. I knew that our friends at Choice had the booth. I thought maybe I had the suite. I thought maybe they would have some seats open in it, and that worked out perfectly. And then I was able to watch the Hawkeye game. During that, really, that's what I did most of my time during the 3.5 hours of hanging out there. The Hawk game was on. We ended up. So let's see. When we walked out of the suite at 9, a little after 9. There were just a couple minutes left in the game. It was tied. If that tells you, and that gives you an idea of the stretch of the game that they were in when we walked out.
Yeah. So Iowa loses to Oregon last night, 80-78. They made a game of it in the second half. Oregon had the lead the most of the game. Iowa's biggest lead, I think, in the entire game was 2. Oregon was up double digits at times, but Iowa just wouldn't go away. And you thought, boy, you got the home court. And you've got the student section that was fairly active. Wasn't packed. Still had about 8,700 there last night. So you got about, a little more than a half full arena. But you're like, okay, this team's got some momentum. And then it's Oregon takes a lead, or I think it was a 2-point game. Oregon turns the ball over on an inbounds pass. Josh Dix steps back, takes a three. And Nate Biddle was a player yesterday. I mean, Nate Biddle's one of these guys. He's a big dude. He's got the mullet, and you can't help but to just not like him and like him at the same time. Do you know what I mean by that? You're like, I like you.
I'll be honest, dude. In the wake of something like that, it takes me a while. As much as I try not to play that game of I don't like you if you're not a Hawkeye. No. But I will tell you, I have a hard time. This is a great example. Now that you're saying it. Yeah, if that dude is on my team, I'd love him. Last night, I did not.
Yeah.
No, get a haircut, you shaggy looking.
Yeah, because he's got the mullet, and every time he sit down, he's got the bald spot going in back. I'm like, oh, dude, I feel sorry for you because I was in your position 40 years ago. It's all going to be gone in 6 years, and you're trying to grow it as long as you can.
So, I understand what you're saying, but when you said that at first, I recoiled for a moment. Because I'm, but you're right. Great, really, really good player, really fun player, guy that I would love if he was on my team. He's not on my team.
Yeah, but he made a difference last night. He had 21 points, and his only 3-pointer that he hits. I don't know if you saw that. I mean, there was 0 time left on the shot clock. It was late, and I can't remember if Iowa had a 2-point lead at that point or was tied. And you're like, big dude, hadn't hit a 3-pointer, and then he drains it, and you're like, oh, devastating. Absolutely devastating. I mean, Iowa could have won that game. I'm not saying they should have won because they were battling the whole time, but a game they could have won.
Yeah, could have won. I hate the should have wons. I never know about that. Very rarely does a team lose and you say, man, they should have won that game. They could have won that game last night. The beer promotion seemed to be a winner. Yeah. Draw some folks in. Trav, we saw that thing that we've talked about with this Hawkeye team, man. If you want to find the silver lining in a loss, you say things like, they didn't quit. They were down 10 and they didn't quit. They fought back into that game and truthfully, that was a fun game to watch. Coming up short and losing, it was an exciting basketball game. That was fun to see your team claw back in and give that hope. But man, this thing of having hope and losing is getting really old. Not even getting old. It's tired and dead. So last night was another example of it.
Hope only gets you so far, right? I mean, and now following to 14-10. You have 5 wins in the Big Ten. There's no way this team, outside of winning the Big Ten tournament, which it will not do, will make the NCAA tournament.
Trav, they might not make the Big Ten tournament.
Yes.
They are hanging on. So 15 teams will make the Big Ten tournament. Is that right? 15, I think? It's 15, a weird number.
Yes, 15
And
teams.
They're at 15 right now. I'm pretty sure that they're the number 15 team in the Big Ten right now.
Now, they get Washington coming up this weekend, which Washington got beat last night. That is, of the games they have left, I would say it's the most winnable, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It's the most winnable of any game they have left.
Washington at home absolutely is your most winnable game. I mean, we've gone through this before. Here's what's remaining for them. Washington at home, and then you go at Illinois, at Northwestern, which is probably your second most winnable game. Senior night is Michigan State at home, and then you go at Nebraska to end things off. So, you have played yourself into this position where Washington and Northwestern are must-win games if you want to make the Big Ten tournament. And what does it matter? Like you said, what if they do sneak in as the number 15 team?
Then you're playing, a number 1 seed right away?
Short of some sort of miraculous run, It's time to take the train off the tracks. Did you see Lystico's article? I know you don't get the register over there.
I reached out to Chad to see if because I read it and I said, hey, do you want to come on? He was busy. I did see it. I mean, he's talked about basically all the things we've been talking about.
It covers every angle. It's one of those articles, Trav. I'm not sure if you had the actual physical paper, because when I go up to the coffee shop, it's one of my favorite things. Order my coffee, I sit there and
you're
read
an old
the paper.
soul. You're an old soul.
Buddy.
I have not picked up a physical copy of a newspaper in a long
when
time.
you open that page and it's the entire, because it's the first, the little column on the left, and Beth Getz has some tough decisions coming up on Fran, and the first part of the article, that first page, is basically a recap of how we got to where we are. And then you open that page and it's the entire page. You're like, oh, here we go. Lystico is breaking it down, baby.
He spent some time. It was like you don't see long form reporting anymore. I mean, it was, and again, you just wonder if the end really is near. They keep fighting hard. They keep playing well, but there's just so much apathy right now, and you can't give away.
It's the right word, Trav. Yeah. It is the right word. Even last night, we talked about it going into the game. I'm excited for my team. I want to watch the Hawks. What are your expectations? Basketball.
Yeah.
My expectations are that I'm going to watch the Hawk logo, and it's going to be a basketball game.
Oregon, an athletic team, they weren't a great team last night by any means. Just hit big shots. And going back to Biddle, his inside presence and their length was a huge difference.
Trav, they talked about that towards the end of the Maryland game in the Hawks. That's the biggest problem right now. Everybody can see that. You've got no bigs. You've got no good big bodies that can be physical down there over the course of 40 minutes in a Big Ten game. I think without Owen Freeman, it doesn't really look like a Big Ten roster. You just don't have the ponies to run this race, as I've said. And again, man, beating the dead horse, but it all comes back to the same conclusion in my brain. No other program would allow this. No other program in the Big Ten would allow this extended run of mediocrity. No other team. They would have. Every other university, you can look at them, and then outside of like a Northwestern or even Rutgers doesn't even. It's bad. It's bad.
Maybe the closest one to running a mediocrity right now is Nebraska and Fred Hoiberg. Fred, has not got it over the hump.
Right.
But he hasn't been at Nebraska as long as Fran's been at Iowa. And I think after this year, Fred's going to be close to making the NCAA tournament, but they need to either get a win or start taking it to a completely different level before that apathy sits in over there. But I would say, and I think the only reason Fred Hoiberg saved his job at Nebraska is because at the time Trev Alberts had to make a football coaching change, and he didn't want to do two at the same time. It was like, okay, I'm going to deal with Scott Frost, bring in Matt Rule. Fred, you, and then he kind of had a decent year the following year, and that kind of saved him a little bit. And plus, he's a nice guy. People generally like him, but that's only going to get you so far. Sooner or later, being a nice guy isn't going to get it done. And Nebraska got drilled last night at Penn State. I mean, absolutely drilled by one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. The really impressive win last night was Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa, Ross.
Big one. We talked about how they had to get, didn't have to, but needed a nice win at Belmont, right?
And they got it. And it was kind of scary, right? Because they fell down. They were down like 24-8. And so Belmont came out just red hot. UNI dug itself in a hole and just fought back. And then late in the game, I think Belmont scored like 3 points between the 8-minute mark and like the minute 30 mark. So they just went ice cold. Northern Iowa kept scoring points, gets out of Belmont with a win last night, which was impressive. Their sixth win in a row keeps them a game out of the Valley lead. setting up that showdown with Drake this weekend.
Makes that huge, doesn't it? Sunday matchup.
Huge.
A game behind Drake right now. 19-9 on the season and 13-4 in the Valley. Hell of a season, man. Like from the minute we started this program a month ago, Travis, it was like, hey, is anybody paying attention? They're turning things on up in Cedar Falls. It's that time of year, isn't it?
One of our first shows was, is Ben Jacobson get the respect that he's due, right? I mean, he's been at Northern Iowa so long. He does this kind of every year. You start off slow. You play a pretty decent non-conference schedule. You lose some games. And then they just slowly get themselves back into contention. And I'm starting to wonder, I've been pretty adamant that Ben McCollum was going to be the coach of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference, still thinking that. But if Ben Jacobson wins on Sunday and they find a way to win the Valley, that voting may go a different way. To me, it's either going to be Ben McCollum or it's going to be McCollum or it's going to be Jacobson.
Yeah. I don't know where my vote. I think I'm with you, Trav. You might have to wait till Sunday, or wait till this thing shakes out. They both are very deserving of it. You can make a case for either one. And by the way, fans should not be pissed if the other one wins it, because that's another thing that we'll do is scream about it just because. And I don't think that's the right way. Both of these coaches have had amazing seasons. Amazing.
I think it's so cool that we're this late in the season, and maybe the biggest game of the weekend is Northern Iowa and Drake, right? And
now, what do you mean, like in the nation?
No. For in the state.
Okay.
In the state.
Yeah, I'd say without a doubt in the state.
Yeah.
I mean, who does Iowa State have this weekend?
They're at Houston. That's a pretty big game.
That's a pretty big one.
Pretty big game. They're at Houston this weekend.
That's a pretty big game.
But
I see
as much on the line. There's so much on the line in this Drake UNI game.
Yeah.
And with Bradley getting beat last night, totally changes the dynamic. Now, Northern Iowa has Drake left. Then it has, I forget, some other team.
I got
UIC.
Iowa.
It's UIC, okay. And then ends at Bradley.
Yeah. Two tough ones in there.
Yes. The Drake has Northern Iowa, Evansville, and Missouri State.
And that's Missouri State's the worst team in the Valley.
Yes. Evansville's okay.
They're middle. They're okay.
They're okay. But this weekend's game could really decide who wins the Missouri Valley Conference.
I like Tyler's finding the loopholes. I like it. See that? Yeah, Iowa State plays Houston on Saturday.
Yeah.
Drake UNI is the biggest game on
Sunday.
Yeah. See, if you just pick your words carefully here, makes all the sense in the world. And I'm not even going to look at the NCAA schedule for Sunday. I'm just going to go with Tyler. Drake UNI, marquee matchup. The nation's eyes turn to Panthers Bulldogs.
Drake did get a win over UIC last night, 74-57. Bennett Sturts with 25 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals. Average night for Sturts. Average night.
Just doing what he does.
Drake started with a 23-0 run to start the game.
I was watching. So I'm at State Wrestling, but I'm on Twitter and I see Murph is tweeting about the game. By the way, did you see what happened to Justin?
No.
In car troubles. His car broke down on him. He couldn't get to the game last night.
Call an Uber.
You look at you. Look at you just solving problems.
Well, okay. Now, there's two things that I have to think about here. Mm-hmm. Is that did the car break down in his parking lot to where it wouldn't start because it's cold outside? Or was he driving, car breaks down because he's driving a Mercedes that's 20 years old? Or if it's if it didn't start, you call an Uber, or you call your dad, or you call anybody and say, I have to get to the nap center. Poor kid.
So he couldn't get there last night. So I was watching Murph's tweets, and Murph was like, Drake up 10-0. Drake's on a 15-0 run. Drake's up 21-0.
And I know you. If Justin would have called you and said, Ross, hey, I know you're at state wrestling, but I can't get to the Drake game. You're so nice. You would have said, all right, man, I'll be there in a second. I'll help you out.
Where are you? Because I might know somebody that's close to where you are, and they can come help you. But yeah, we can get you to the game, man.
There's nothing worse than car troubles. Nothing worse than car troubles. And when you don't have a full-time job, it really makes it even tougher. Because you're like, how am I going to pay for said car troubles and car repairs?
Can I be real honest and vulnerable with you for a minute? I think you just were talking about car troubles, and this memory clicked in my head from yesterday.
Your Jeep blowing up?
No. This happened yesterday to me. Not to me. I'm at a stoplight, and there are police and ambulance. There's emergency vehicles coming through the intersection. And light is green, and so the final cop car goes through, and I start to go, and as I go, I kind of hear this like click out of my right side. And I'm driving, and I look over to the other lane, and I realize as I'm starting to drive that what happened in the other lane was that the dude, the second car started to drive and rear-ended the guy in front of him, okay?
Okay.
It kind of, as I'm going through the intersection, kind of clicked, and I'm like, "Oh, I think that was an accident." Now I'm in Ankeny. There were a lot of cars there. Was I supposed to stop and like be? There's no.
Was it a
witness
bad accident?
No.
No. You keep going.
Because I pulled up. I got up to Quick Start, and I pulled in, and I kind of had that thing in my head, like, "Wait a minute, was I supposed to?" There were a ton of people around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want to stop and say, "Hey, I know what I saw"?
No. I didn't want to I didn't want to be involved in it.
Going. Keep going.
Get out of there.
Not your problem.
You're right. Not my circus. That you're exactly right. And I didn't see. I wouldn't be able to say anything except for I think I heard a click.
Yeah, and a cop would have been, well, you can be on your way. Now, if it would have been like a massive rollover where you saw who was at fault, maybe stop and say, hey, I saw what happened.
Maybe. He said maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
He said maybe.
Depending on how much time it's like, well, I need to be someplace. I'm not one to stick around, and I'm one to gawk, drive by an accident, go, oh man, that sucks. Sucks to be you. See you guys later. I'm never one to go, man, maybe I should stop and tell the cops what I saw. If there were other people around. Because I'm like, other people can handle that. Not my problem.
You're exactly right. It's moments like this. I feel like stupid Johnny Helper guy. You know what I mean? Because I'd be the one, hey, I can help. How can you help? I don't know. Are you an EMT? No. Can you call 911? Oh, I don't have my phone. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I've only stopped for an accident once in my life, and I was on my way to Carroll, Iowa, and I was on this country road, and Anjanette and I come up on a car that had gone on the ditch and flipped over. And so nobody else was there, so therefore you feel obligated at that point. You see people laying out in the field, you're like, I should probably stop. The good thing is nobody died.
You and I have had so many similar experiences. I had that exact same experience.
Really?
Yeah.
On the way to Carroll, too?
Not on the way to Carroll, on the way to Altoona.
Oh, and you're
Thanksgiving, 1999.
Really?
Yeah. Driving from Pleasant Hill up to Altoona, and I'm driving in my Jeep Wrangler. My buddy Travis is sitting in the passenger seat, and all of a sudden he's like, oh my gosh, there was a car in the ditch. It was like 2 a.m. We were going to another party. Yeah. And I remember we turned around, and this car was upside down in the ditch on its roof, and a kid was sitting out, 17-year-old kid was sitting outside of the car, staring at my headlights. And so we jumped out and got down there, and there was another kid inside the car. Now, this is 99. No, we didn't have cell phones. So we got the kid out of the car. They had just bought the car that day, and he had missed. Going down Easton. People will know on the east side where Easton hits East 56th. It tees, and the kid didn't realize the tee, missed the turn, and flipped into the ditch.
Ooh.
But we got the kid. It was the same sort of thing. We didn't have a cell phone. Couldn't call 911. The kids were okay. They were standing up. They're like, all right. I'm like, well, you guys want to ride home? I drove them home.
And then what do? You call the cops and say, hey, I got a car
good luck.
out
I
there?
guess. I don't know. Again, not my circus. I don't know
fair.
what they did.
That's fair. Not your circus. 515-517-2303. We should take a break, but let's go to get this. Let's
Okay,
just
good deal. I like this. I like this idea.
All right.
Who's this?
Hey, who is this?
Hey, this is Nick
Hey,
from
Nick.
Sunrise Point.
What's up, Nick?
I am a huge. Are we talking about car wrecks because that's what the Iowa basketball team is?
Good call, Nick.
Nick,
Good call.
hey, listen, I'm okay with that analogy, man. Even though you come close to a win, that's a conference game at home against a team that's not a world beater. I think we're nearing train wreck. Is it a train wreck, Trav? Is that fair for? I mean, I want Nick to finish his point, but I think it's pretty close.
I don't. It's a slow-moving train that's just like it needs to be put out to pasture. A train wreck to me is like if this team had like 3 or 4 wins and it was so bad. This team's not a bad basketball team. Do you look at Iowa and go, "You're a bad basketball team"? I don't.
They're not good, and you've had a coach that's been there for a tenure that doesn't allow for this sort of mediocrity.
Okay,
but
I don't know if I'd call that a train wreck.
True. Go ahead,
If
Nick.
a train is going 5 miles an hour and tips over, is it still a train wreck? Because that's what Iowa basketball's been for 20 freaking years.
It's a train derailment. How's that? Not a train wreck,
See,
but
Nick,
a train derailment.
He's just changing the language on you.
Yep. Perfect.
All right, Nick. Thanks for checking in, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm gonna
Have
go.
a good one.
I'm
You
gonna
too,
go
buddy.
Train derailment. Just came off the rails. That's not a wreck. That's just we just got to get it set back on and get going in the right direction. 515.
And Trav, I don't want to root for a man's job to be taken away from him, but I want the Hawkeyes to be good.
Yeah.
And they're not. Fran's not going to do it. He's not going to ever get this team to where I, as a fan, desire them to be.
515-517-2303. We'll take a break, come back, and keep the conversation going. Maybe a little college football talk as the Big Ten and the SEC got together and tried to flex their muscles.
Wait,
the rush.
Real quick. The chat is now discussing whether or not it's a train wreck or not. Did you see JB's comment?
I did not.
It's more of a plane rollover.
Too soon. Way too soon. It's the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
Doug Burgess, Service Manager here at Willis Infinity. As we move into 2025, I want to say one final thank you for what 2024 has brought to us. Getting the opportunity to meet many of your customers, and for you, voting us the #1 Google-ranked dealership in the Midwest. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to know why, and to have that Willis experience yourself, stop on in or go online to make your appointment at willisinfinity.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig, Plantation Rum,
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
and a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's Valentine's month and sweet deals are in the air. Hi, I'm Josh Romick, Service Manager at Willis Lexus. We have our popular Spend More and Save More with up to a 25% discount on services over $1,000. And don't forget about our Lexus Tire Price Match Promise. Find the right tire at the right price. We'll match any advertised price on tires. If you'd like to schedule, give us a call or visit us online at willislexus.com. Have a happy Valentine's Day.
Not too many places hit all the right notes. But when it comes to great atmosphere and delicious scratch-made food, Truman's is the name to know. Game days are for Chiefs fans, but every day is for the food fans. Truman's, get to know us by name.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long at therushradio.com. Just click that Listen Live button, or you can download the podcast right there on the webpage and listen from beginning to end. Most people aren't ready to call it a train wreck. Somebody said the dumpster is starting to smolder a little bit, right? It's smoldering. I'm going to go with derailment. That's what I'm sticking with. That's what I'm sticking with.
And I think that you are calling abortion women's health care. You're just changing the words.
Jesus.
It's not a train wreck. It's just the train is no longer headed in the direction we'd planned it.
Now, JB said the plane roll. I did talk to my wife's cousin yesterday, and the husband's not ready to talk, and I don't blame him. I wasn't going to push it.
Yeah. That's incredible that you know somebody that was on that plane.
Yes. And so she's like, he slept all day yesterday, and he's not much of a talker. Which, can you imagine going to bed, the dreams you would have the rest of your life, or at least in the short term?
And again, the fact that you were like, the guy got on a plane to fly home.
Well, driving all the way from Toronto, you're probably like, do I want to drive from Toronto to Minneapolis? Because that's a hell of a haul.
And that's a lot of windshield time with what's going through your head. I don't know, man. I do feel for the dude. I feel for everybody that was involved in it, because that's a traumatic event.
Yeah, if you weren't listening yesterday, my wife's first cousin's husband, which would be her first cousin as well, I guess, was on the Delta flight that rolled in Toronto. And we were going to try to see if he'd want to come on with us. And he politely said no, and I respect the decision 100%.
Okay, and I know you got someplace you want to go with the show here, but I want to tell people real quickly another small world story that we had. So if you remember Monday, when Travis was in Los Alamos, or he was still in New Mexico, he had been to the Los Alamos Museum, and he took a photo and sent it to me that said, hey, did you know Ames was involved in the Manhattan Project? I was like, man, I kind of rang a bell, but no, I didn't. So we talked about it on the air on our show briefly. I got a message from my friend Allison, who used to be a trainer at Grandview. And she said, hey, my grandpa died from radiation exposure in the Manhattan Project in Ames. He was part of the uranium enrichment program that they did in Ames. And there's a documentary out there called Uranium Derby that was made about, and my grandma is interviewed in the documentary talking about it. So we did some quick searching and found the producer of that documentary. And hopefully, Travis and I are trying to watch. Did you already watch it, Trav? I haven't had a chance to yet.
I watched about 45 minutes of it yesterday.
Okay. And she told us, she was very open about it, right? She said, hey, this was my very first production, my very first attempt at doing something. I'm getting better, and I'm making another one about the Iowa caucuses. So we might have her on at some point to talk about Uranium Derby and how Ames was involved in the Manhattan Project.
Well, it's just kind of this it's not really a secret, but it's not advertised, right? And so there's like a little monument or a rock up there that they say, hey, this is where all this stuff took place. But I had no idea when I went into this. I'm like, Ames was part of the Manhattan Project?
So and I will tell you this. We had people in the chat say, yeah, as students at Iowa State are taught this in the first week, like part of your orientation at Ames is you're taught about the Manhattan Project. I have mentioned this to a few Iowa State grads that did not know about it. So
really?
Again, at orientation, I think that you're inundated with so much stuff, and you're probably paying attention to 10% of it anyway. And only 10% of that 10% is probably actually soaking in.
Another small world. I was sitting at home last night, and I got a Facebook message from my freshman at Grandview resident assistant, my RA, Jeff Corcoran. He goes, hey, and Jeff lived in Des Moines for a long time, took a lot of photos. He photographed a lot of like bicyclists and stuff. But he's like, hey, are you still here? I live here now. I'm like, really? I wish I would have known that. We could have hooked up because I'm not there anymore. So yeah, it was like, oh, next time you're in town, just come visit me. I'm like, okay, we can do that. I know somebody in Santa Fe now.
That's funny.
Got room in your house that I don't have to rent a hotel again. So that'll save me a lot of money. Ooh, Andrew said, I saw where they're offering passengers that on that flight $30,000 each. Yeah, that's not a lot.
So I saw Cole put that in the chat earlier. He said he better get more than the $30,000 they're trying to settle for.
$30,000. Are they going to say, well, you lived, so you get $30,000? No. I want a couple $100,000.
Couple of zeros on that.
Yes, and I want free tickets for life.
I love your negotiation. I love that. That's your first thought is I'm flying free.
The rest of my life, my wife and I and my kids till they're 18 fly free.
I love it.
And then
I wish I could do like an SNL type of skit here where you know, people are getting off the plane, or maybe this is more like an I think you should leave, where everybody's, oh my gosh, I got to call my wife. I got to call my wife and tell her I'm alive. And I got to call my kids and tell them how much I love them. Travis is like, I got to call my travel agent and start booking some stuff because this is free.
It's kind of like me when they go, hey, we're offering passengers vouchers. We got a $250 voucher to bump off this flight. I always walk up and say, I'll do it for $500. I'm not doing it for the $250, but if you give me $500, I'll think a little harder about it.
Travis hears it as a negotiation. It's not an offer. It's not an offer.
It's not an offer.
It's a negotiation.
I'm booked. You want my seat. If you want my seat, it's not $250. It is a $500 voucher, or it is a $750 voucher that is also first class. I mean, you want it, it's going to cost you. So that's where I would go.
If I'm ever in a situation like that, I'm calling you. And my brother also is one of these extreme negotiators. I love him to death. But he's a guy that's really hard to negotiate with.
Like when I go to Nebraska Furniture Mart and want to shop, right? What I'll do is I'll set at the appliance that I want or whatever I want, and I'll find it online at a cheaper price, and I'll say that price. And I'm like, you got to price match it, because if you don't price match it, I'm not going to buy it here. Is that too much?
Does it work?
Yes.
then it's not too much.
Okay.
Yep.
You never know unless you ask.
That's a good. You make them say no.
Yes.
Yeah.
But most times,
Ross says his wife broke his ankle on a flight, and she got $30,000 for that, for a broken ankle on a flight. Now, is getting hurt? I'm being serious here.
depending on how you broke the ankle, I need more of what happened, right? If you were just a klutz and fell over your own feet, how is that, the airline's fault? The aisle's pretty narrow.
I'm guessing if she got $30,000, they didn't just hand her a check. It wasn't like she tripped and fell, and they're like, "Oh, here's $30,000."
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's more of a story from Ross there, but is actually breaking an ankle worse than the trauma of what I think the trauma is 10 times worse than.
Because that will haunt you the rest.
Yes.
Every time you get on a plane, you will think about what happened.
You're never going to go past it. You're never going to see a plane. Drive past an airport, see a plane flying in the sky. Somebody mentions a flight. Think about the next time you're at a party and somebody's like, "Oh, I had the worst flight last week. We had turbulence. We had to wait on the runway for 2 hours before we even took off." Have you ever sat in a plane for 2 hours before it took off?
Yes, I have.
This dude's in the corner going, "Want to hear my story?"
Yeah, I'm okay sitting for 2 hours on a plane as long as we're right side up.
Yeah. Did the plane sit on its wheels when it was on the ground?
Cole wants to know if I was your divorce lawyer. I was not Ross's divorce lawyer, though I did some consultation through the whole thing.
That's good, fair word for it.
Yeah, I'm not licensed to practice law in any state.
Or therapy, but he does.
Yes. Yes. I am a very good psychologist and makeshift divorce lawyer.
Frank was one of my real estate clients. He says, "Ross, everything in life is a negotiation. You know this." That's right. That's I tell my clients all the time, all things are negotiable. All things.
I wouldn't say all things. I mean, they're well, okay. For a price, but some things are like, I'm not moving on that unless you make it so much worth my while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, man, I'd really like if they'd keep that pool table down here. Think they'd keep the pool table down here? We'll find out.
If you want to buy it, sure.
We'll start the negotiation with, hey, they probably don't want to move that pool table, do they?
You know how it's a pain in the ass. That's like a real slate.
Yeah, that's an expense. That's expensive to move a pool table. How about we remove that expense?
Now, it's common practice, though, when you sell a house that, like, the refrigerator stays, right?
Oh, yeah, yes. Most of the appliances, washer and dryer are ones that's kind of, I hate to say wishy-washy, but that's washer and dryer are the ones that are most likely to not be involved in a transaction. But refrigerator, stove, any of those appliances like that, sometimes somebody wants to keep their fridge, but that's very, very rare.
I think it all depends on how new the fridge is.
And like if you're in love with it. And I think that's kind of the same thing with washer and dryer. Some people, they just bought their washer and dryer. They love it. And so they're like, hey, I really want to take this one with me. Okay. Well, then we'll do that.
Have you ever had anybody go, I want the couch? Can we negotiate the couch or the chair and ottoman?
Yes.
You have?
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, dude, one house that I sold in the Drake neighborhood, we sold it with everything in it.
Oh, I remember when you did this.
Everything in it was sold with the purchase of the home. Only one I've ever done like that. But a lot of times, like, there's a big couch in a basement. And it kind of starts with that same thing of like, hey, this couch, it fits into this basement perfectly. Either the buyer walked in and said that they love it, or the seller says, hey, I don't want to move this thing out of here. It's a pain in the ass. Do they want it? We'll give it to them. Or
have you ever had a situation where it wasn't in the negotiation and the seller just left stuff like, we don't want this?
Yeah. Yeah, and that can go both ways.
True.
I mean, when we bought this house, it had stuff in it. It had, there were things in the attic and there were things left behind. And you just kind of deal with it. And most people are good with that. Most people are good with moving in and there's a few random little things left behind that you either throw away or say, hey, we'll find a use for this. Sometimes that gets ugly, though. Sometimes you get a lot of stuff that gets left behind, or one person's idea of clean is not another person's idea of clean. So yeah, there can be some headaches on closing day, but for the most part, you get all that stuff. It's managing the expectations, Trav. It's getting people, hey, this is probably what's going to happen on that day.
Now, this is my third house that we've purchased. I would say this. The houses were clean when we moved in, but we still do our own cleaning, right? It's just like you want to sterilize everything yourself. You're like, you just go through and give it a once-over and be satisfied to what it's at your level. The Big Ten and the SEC, Ross, got together and had their own little meetings. Because they're the Big Ten and the SEC and they can do this. The commissioners from both leagues stated that they want the seeding process changed for the 2025 college football playoff. They realized, and I think fans realized, that the seeding was not, it didn't make sense the way it was done with Arizona State and Boise State and the way that all kind of went down. They are in favor of just taking the rankings 1 through 12 and then seeding them that way. That makes the most sense to me. Because I'm like, okay, I got a number 1 seed and the number 1 team. The number 12 team is the 12 seed. The problem they're going to face now is that everything has to be unanimous. So all the other, if they want to change what happens, Notre Dame's athletic director has to be on board, and the other leagues have to be on board that are part of this. I don't know if you're going to get unanimous decision out of this, because if you're like Boise, you're like, why would I agree to change the seating process when it benefited me?
You're much better at this game than I am. Put yourself, Travis, in Notre Dame's position, because are they going to be a perennial top 12 team? They're one of those programs that will be in that discussion. But even if you're Notre Dame, do you roll the dice on this? Would you? Because I don't think Notre Dame signs up for this.
No, I would disagree with you on that.
Okay.
And hear me out, because right now, the way it's set up, Notre Dame cannot get a first-round bye. It can make the playoffs, but it can't get a first. But if you want to go, if we want to truly seed it 1 through 12, and Notre Dame was ranked number 4, then to me, Notre Dame would get a first-round bye. So Notre Dame could go, yeah, we're on board. Sure, we're on board if you now change the rule to where Notre Dame can get a first-round bye.
Yeah. We'll vote yes with an amendment.
Yes, because what you're suggesting is a 1 through 12 seeding, which makes perfect sense to me. I have a hard time looking at the college football playoff rankings, seeing a team that's not ranked number 4 being the 4th seed like Boise State. So Notre Dame could go, yeah, we're on board, but you have to waive the caveat that we never get a first-round bye.
All right, so let's go through the time frame of this. They want to do this for 2025. They want to do this for this year's college football playoff. How quickly, Trav, would they have to have that? When is the vote?
I think the leagues are getting together next month. So the decisions could be made then. And I think that would be the only major change for the college football playoff, because the new negotiation is going to start for the 2026 college football playoff, where possible expansion to 14. And then you have the SEC and the Big Ten who are going to start arguing for automatic qualifiers. And we've heard the number 4 out there. I get the idea of automatic qualifiers. I really, really do. But if you're going to have a college football playoff poll and you want to seed it 1 through 12 or 1 through 14, your 14 teams in the playoffs are the 14 teams, top 14 teams in the poll. Now, I would make an assumption. It's simplistic, but I'm going to make an assumption. There's probably a pretty good chance that the Big Ten and the SEC would have 4 teams in the top 14.
Yeah, I think that's safe assumption.
But not always.
That's my thing. And
they want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah,
is what they want.
Right. And dude, the writing has been on the wall for a long time. I think all of us saw this coming. We've talked about it. Consolidating that power between those two schools, and it was going to run amok. This is what happens with absolute power. There's an old saying in that. Do you know what it is, Trav? Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I've never heard that.
But basically, this is inevitable. When you let somebody make all the rules, they're going to make the rules that benefit themselves.
That's human nature.
Human nature.
It's
Exactly.
human nature.
You're nailing it. That's why they warn you about this stuff.
Yes.
Oh, man. So this is what's going to, I think, Trav, it's inevitable that it will happen, and it's almost a hostage negotiation. Aren't the Big Ten and SEC saying in a way here? Aren't they saying this is your deal?
They have more power for 26 and beyond because that's where the new negotiation takes place. For 25, the rules are set in place so they don't have as much power. You just hope like the other schools go, yeah, the seating was a little confusing,
and it's kind of like the old Anthony Rizzo or Chris Bryant negotiation. Hey, don't piss him off.
Yeah.
We got next year. Next year, they're really going to have us by the balls. So don't piss them off because they squeeze.
I mean, I love the college football playoff this year. Absolutely loved the home sites. Loved everything about it. The only thing I didn't like was the seating because it didn't make sense to me. And that's an easy fix. And the easy fix is going 1 through 12. Those are your seeds. We got a college football playoff poll. We spend a lot of time going through it. You don't think it's as easy as that?
I keep having this hesitation about the poll. And maybe you can talk me off this ledge, this mental ledge I'm having. It's the Associated Press poll?
No, it's the college football playoff poll.
The college football playoff poll, which is not even the Associated Press poll. The Associated Press poll is...
It's nothing. It is essentially nothing.
But the college football playoff poll is a committee.
And that's much like the NCAA basketball committee. They get together, they decide what the seeds are. Now that doesn't go by a poll, but you also have 68 teams, and it's kind of but we're used to it. We understand.
Yeah. Again, somebody has to make the decision. Somebody has to write the program that does the BCS. Somebody has to sit in the room. There just is no. I mean, even if you say, well, AI, somebody's programming, somebody's going to make the decision about who these teams are and how the power gets divided up. My hesitation there, Trav, what I'm getting at is I hate the idea of saying this group is the one that's going to tell us who the best 12 teams are every year, or 16 teams, or whatever. But there's going to have to be somebody.
Yeah, because that's what happens in basketball. They tell us what the field of 68 is. They set it up as a committee. Would it be better? So what the committee did, basketball, just last week put out like its top 16 seeds. Said, hey, here's a snapshot of where we're at right now. Would you be in favor of getting rid of the poll altogether? Because AP right now means absolutely nothing. Even in the basketball.
It's fake fodder.
It gives us something to talk about.
Yeah, right.
But just say, hey, we're not going to release a weekly college football playoff poll. You might do one, much like the basketball committee, say, hey, this is kind of what we're at right now. We'll talk to you when the selection takes place for the playoffs. That way you don't have that jostling of what's going on leading up into that last weekend of the season. You just come out and say, and you almost make that selection Sunday a lot more appealing, or is it on Monday they do it? But it doesn't matter. You can say, hey, we have the big reveal.
Yeah, the big reveal. We all love that. We all love the selection show.
Yes, because then we bitch about it, or or we're happy with it. So
no, Travis, as soon as you started saying that, I'm like, yes, that's what I want. I want them to release kind of a preview. Here's a snapshot, I think is the word you used. Great word for it. Here's a snapshot of what we're thinking and where things sit right now.
And you can do that mid-November and say the next time you're going to hear from us, it's going to be after the conference championship games. We'll reveal the field of 12 and where they're seated, and that's all you need to know. And I'm okay with that. I don't need a poll on, but see, you know what? But we're talking about money here because ESPN loves that new college football playoff poll coming out on every week because they get to have a big TV show around it, talk for an hour about it, and make a lot of money off it. Money drives everything. But I like the way the Big Ten and the SEC is thinking here about going to just a straight seed. 515-517-2303. Let's go to Coach Hersom. Coach Hersom, welcome to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
So the YouTube thing is kind of interesting, and I'll be honest with you. Obviously, you guys changed subjects already. Like, you can watch it, and then if you're scrolling or doing something else, it picks it back up. So I've already changed subjects from something that you might have been talking about 15 minutes ago with Ross's business in terms of selling houses.
Oh, okay. That's all right. Go ahead, buddy.
That's the kind of you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
So it's weird that way because, like I said, all of a sudden it comes on and I'm like, these guys aren't talking about that anymore. So it is what it is. But
you've listened to the show a long time. That's kind of the way it goes.
I get it. Yeah, subject change for sure. So Ross, you'll appreciate this story. So this is 1971, approximately 6 months after I was born. My dad, they had a house, but he also owned the property or the lot just north of the house. And one of the guys that worked for my grandpa, and I think we've discussed this before. My family had a construction company. We built a few hundred churches over 7 states.
Wow, very cool.
One of the guys. Yeah, no, I'm going to send you a picture of the first one, and you're going to be amazed. But anyway, one of the block layers came in, and he lived in Spencer, but he wanted to live closer to Lorenz, even though they were always out on the road, kind of thing, working or whatever. And my dad was in the office, and he's like, I'm looking for this and this, and my dad's like, well, you're describing my place. Let's go look at it. So they go up to the house, and it's him and his wife or whatever, and they, and she's like, this is. She goes, this is exactly what I want. It's beautiful or whatever. And my dad's like, well, it's for sale. And she's like, well, but the reason it's so beautiful is because of what's in it. All the furnishings and things like that. And my dad's like, it's for sale. And at the end of the day, my dad had to explain to my mom that he kept her sewing machine or cabinet or whatever, and he kept his gun cabinet, but
sold the rest, sold everything else they owned.
He sold it.
Love it.
Sold
Coach, that's a good one.
Sold everything.
Thanks, Mike.
Coach. Thanks.
So,
yep, 515-517-2303. We will take a break and come back and restart. Talk the Block D. The Block D on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bobby here at Land Rover Des Moines. Just wanted to say it's February, so I invite you to come in and fall in love with a Land Rover. We've got over 43 of them in stock and 2.9% financing on select vehicles. You'll never find a better time to fall in love with something just like this. So call, click, or visit us at LandRoverDesMoines.com or stop down in the showroom and see one in person. You'll be glad you did.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's $25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's $25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge!
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Hi, I'm John Linares, sales manager at Willis Lexus, and this month we're going to help you find your perfect match. Stop out and see us. We've got great inventory of NX and NX Hybrid, TX, and ES. We have more inventory arriving daily, and this month Lexus has also brought back the very popular 42-month lease. Stop out and see us or visit us online at willislexus.com.
Largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Number 2 of the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Thanks for joining us on a Thursday. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give this video a like. Follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Of course, you can listen all day long and live if you're in your car at therushradio.com. We're in the process of trying to make that a little easier for you. More information as the testing wraps up. Got about another 2 weeks of testing, but hopefully some good news coming along in that way. We were talking about selling houses and stuff like that because that's what Ross does. You can see 515-867-1679. Get that sold sign in your yard. But don't forget, something that will sell a house is a good-looking closet in your house or a really good-looking garage. And that's why we want you to use Absolute Garage and Closets because they do fabulous work. The customization is amazing. And they give you complimentary design and consultation at their home to discuss what you want and your need for the space. So make sure to check out Absolute Garage and Closets.
Listen, they're going to blow you away. They have so many things that they can do with. And it sounds like such a dumb thing to say. They're so good with space. No, I mean that. If you need space, they can come over and say, hey, we could put this shelf in that lowers to the ground. You'll have like a winch that will pull. So all of your bikes, there's a bunch of different unique ways to store a bike on a wall or hang from the ceiling that gives you so much more flexibility and availability in your space. I promise you, they will surprise you with what they can do with your garage space. I think one of the things I talked about that I'm most interested in, that I want to do for my dad, they have these screen doors for your garage. So many people are spending time in their garage now. I mean, this is an entire it sits underneath your garage, so you don't have to do anything. They just come in and fabricate it underneath it. Your garage door still rolls up and operates fully. then this screen door rolls. It's sweet. You have to see it to believe it.
Christian Tridy says garage and closet's always the differentiator because the dudes go to the garage, the women go to the closets, and they go, yep, this is what I want.
This is exactly what Absolute is. You and your wife walk in there, and it's almost like a his and hers because the guys walk into the garage and turn into Tim Allen. You go, oh, I want that. What's that do? Oh. And the women go in and go, wait, I can do this with a closet? You can turn that space. So anyway, go check them out. They'll blow you away. And it's all white glove, turnkey service. Like, this is not, they're not coming in and remodeling your house and doing a bunch of, demolition and all that. It's very cool operation. Anyway, there you go.
I kind of surprised you when we were going to break when I said we're going to talk about the Block D.
Oh,
Ross,
I thought you said the Black D.
No,
I thought you said the big Black D. I was like,
no.
Whatever, Trav. I'm... Don't want to, but I guess we will.
The Block D.
Okay, now that's why when I came back, I was like, oh God, here we go.
The Block
now,
D.
What's the Block D?
So have you not been following this story for a guy that picks up the newspaper on a daily basis at the coffee shop? I mean, so it's a waste of time and a waste of money. Drake and D-Mac are still going to battle over the Block D. And D-Mac had a slight win in court yesterday, but this thing's not over. Now, tell me if I'm wrong here. Drake's not in the best financial situation right now, and it seems to be wasting a lot of money fighting D-Mac using a similar Block D with a blue background on it. And, and they tried to say, well, D-Mac's not moving fast enough because of the injunction of not use the logo. They have to change their entire basketball court, Ross. I don't know if you know anything about, stripping a basketball court down and repainting it. You can't do it in the middle of the season because your court's going to be out of commission for a long time. And D-Mac was supposed to get $25,000 from Drake to do all the signage changes. They've come with invoices, and they want $250,000 from Drake because that's what it's actually costing. This is a waste of time and money by both institutions.
And just looks, like that court of public opinion, it just looks dumb.
It looks really dumb.
It looks petty and So that I haven't followed this, Travis, because when the story first broke, I remember thinking, this is stupid. This is dumb. But I should have followed it because it is two local institutions kind of going at it. And this stuff does matter. It wouldn't get to this point. These are smart people who are making these decisions to push this thing as far as it is. And because I don't understand it doesn't mean it's stupid. It just means I don't understand it, and it really does seem in the court of public opinion to be all of those things you said. Waste of time, waste of money, waste of energy and efforts. How much are you wasting more money fighting this thing than you're actually going to, that you actually were trying to protect to begin with?
Well, I look at it this way, okay, and that is, remember when Iowa went after Southern Miss several years ago because of its logo? Because it was very similar to the Tiger Hawk. You're talking about a national brand in Iowa and maybe a regional brand in southern Illinois or southern Mississippi. There could be some confusion there. On a national basis, even a local basis, I don't think people are going to confuse Drake and D-Mac with their Block Ds. Call me crazy. I think most people know the difference. And we're talking about a Block D. We're going to own a font here. I don't know. It's just, again, this is court of. You're right. It's trademark stuff. It's copyright stuff, and I think you. How do you know stupidity when you see it?
Yeah, right, and that's. Again, I don't want to mistake some things here because it's easy when you don't understand something, which is the situation that we're in here. It's easy when you don't understand something to say, this is so dumb. Both of these, Drake's a pretty smart institution. I'm sure they've got some pretty smart lawyers that are fighting for this thing. There's a reason for it, but I wonder if what you're trying to protect is worth what you're investing in the protection. I mean, like, I think I would need maybe more explanation of what it is that this logo, that this Block D is worth.
You know, Urbandale has the U, like Tyler put out.
Dude, there's so many things. I think Waukee uses the Wisconsin. I mean, I don't know. There's so many of them. Waukee uses the Washington W or the Wisconsin W, but changes the color. I mean, you find this everywhere.
You can make your own, but there's only so many fonts out there. If you just want to use a D, I mean, it's like.
I mean, honestly,
and you want to be bold. You want to be, have a certain look to it.
Here's my suggestion again: 50,000-foot view, outsider. I think that it's cool that DMAC is the Bears. We don't have a lot of bears around. Bulldogs are everywhere, everywhere. You guys take the D, Drake. You have that blue D. You guys keep that thing, and we're gonna run with this Bears thing. We want to be the DMAC Bears. We're going to, whatever. I don't even know what, something.
Oh, I forgot about this. Remember when Drake had a marketing campaign that was D+?
D+, absolutely.
At that point, you've lost all intellectual property to use D, because you forfeited the right to argue over public relations and trademarks, because you actually had a campaign, hey, Drake, D+. Oh,
so
yes.
This.
You just hate to see all the money wasted by both institutions, right? It's like, really, this is what you're going to spend money on? Okay, go ahead, have fun with that. Luke Fickell got a year extension at Wisconsin. He's now signed through 2031. Which I think surprised a lot of people coming off a 5-7 season. He hasn't been off to a great start. He had a good transfer portal year, had a top 25 recruiting class. But digging into what Wisconsin does, they do contracts, Ross, the way I like contracts being done. You have a 5-year deal and you roll it over, right? It's not like we're going to sign you to an 8-year deal. We're not going to sign you to a 10-year deal. It's a continual rollover. So this was actually going to. When Paul Chris got fired in 2022, he had just signed, he got his extension, but it's just adding 1 year to your contract at all times. So you just keep it the same. I like that.
I'm okay with it, and I love your theory on why it's the right way to do it with recruiting and having that 5-year window and all of that. The only thing that I think needs to be figured out in there is those buyouts, because you will get in those situations eventually where you're in that 5-year window and you go, we don't want to do this anymore.
Well, and that's why buying out 4 years or 5 years is a lot better than buying out 8 years or 10 years, right? I think it benefits if you know you're going to get a 1-year rollover to where, hey, I'm adding a year to my contract all the time. If you're a coach, you're like, okay, I'm good with that. If you're a university, you're like, we're not going to paint ourselves into a corner to where we're stuck paying a guy off for 8, 9, 10 years in a big buyout. Coaches want the buyouts. The agents want the buyouts because it gives them a little protection. Universities, they just want to win.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do. And if you're secure enough with the way you're coaching, just go get a win. But yeah, so Luke Fickell now signed at Wisconsin through 2031. I don't know if that means anything or not. Are you going to watch hockey tonight?
Yeah, I'm planning on it, dude. Listen, it's going to be a busy evening, but this is something that I haven't looked forward to a hockey game like this. I'm actually should send a text to the group of guys that I was with and find out if we're going to get together somewhere. Maybe go down to El Bait or High Life or something like that and see if we can get a TV on the. I don't know. That's a great idea because tonight could be a lot of fun.
You got USA taking on Canada. It's going to be in Boston. It's the League of Nations Championship. It'd be interesting to see if,
four nations.
Four nations. So four nations. League of Champions.
The League of Nations sounded like a Marvel movie.
But It'd be interesting to see if ESPN shows the national anthems. If they,
they're going to.
If they don't, I'm going to be very disappointed because they booed them the other night in Boston.
You mean in Canada?
When Canada came back to play, who they play? Finland the other night.
Oh, I didn't hear this. Okay.
Oh yeah,
okay.
they booed "Oh Canada." They booed "Oh Canada," and you know it's going to be just as loud tonight.
The two cities. There's Boston has to be one of the two cities, and maybe we could. This is a fun conversation. If you were the Canadian team, there's two cities you didn't want this game to be in. One was Philly, and the other one was Boston. For all sorts of reasons. I mean, the historical significance of them is just beautiful.
Beautiful.
But both of those cities are full of crazies. Like passionate crazies.
Do you think there are any 51st state signs in the crowd tonight?
The Canadian flag with blue sprinkled into it. Welcome to the States, Canada.
I don't know if he was invited. Do you think the president shows up? That would be wild. It would be just like him too, wouldn't it?
I think he makes a
like
phone
him.
call to the locker room. Hello, it's your favorite president. Isn't that what he said to the drivers on Saturday?
Hello, guys. It's your favorite
president.
Oh. But the cool thing about it is, and the sad thing about it is this. The cool thing is it's probably the most anticipated hockey game I can remember in a long, long time. And the sad part of it is this is the most anticipated hockey game in a long, long time. Because have you paid attention to it? The only thing I knew about the NHL this year is that Derek Lalonde got fired, and the only reason I would have known that is because I know Derek Lalonde.
Trav, when you said it's the most anticipated hockey game in a long time, I will go back. When was the last one that I was really excited about? I mean, honestly, it was the last USA-Canada game because my buddy Alan, we were getting together and he showed up in his Patrick Kane jersey, and he's like, hey, we got to watch this game. This is going to be amazing. It's this Four Nations thing. Dialed us in, and we were tuned in from the minute they started dropping the gloves. And Mike says, first time I've cared about a hockey game since Mighty Ducks 2.
But you're not the interesting thing about this, I would say even the non-hockey fans, they don't care about the hockey. They like what's taking place. They like the rivalry. They like the tension. They like the fights that could take place after watching the fisticuffs. That's drawn them in. It wasn't the game. It wasn't. It's now you've got two countries that apparently don't like each other very much. And that Team USA is dealing with a lot of injuries. But we're gonna watch the hockey game, but we're gonna be waiting for something to come out. Do you think both teams sitting there were like, well, crap, we know we're gonna have an electric arena, but we're gonna have the biggest TV audience maybe of the year for hockey. Do we have to fight? And the answer is yes. There has to be a fight at some point in this hockey game because that's what people want to see. And if you're an entertainer, and these athletes are entertainers, give the crowd what they want to see. I want to see a fight. I don't know if I want to see a fight in the first 3 seconds of the game, but
why not?
Yeah, why not? Let's just get it over with.
Yeah, that's what that was. I mean, dude, before the pucks drop, they're looking at each other, they're going, "Hey, we're going. I'm not messing around. I'm not going to come sneak up on you. I'm not going to hit you after a shot on goal. We're going to drop the gloves and we're going to go right now." I respect that more than the other. Dude, imagine if right before, instead of President Trump, like just the game production in Boston tonight, okay? You do the starting lineups and you do the national anthems, all right? And then the arena goes dark. And it starts to flicker on, and the jumbotron, and it's President Trump. Fight! Fight! I am a real American.
Oh God.
Play the Rocky IV thing starts. I live in America.
See, that's what they have to do in Boston tonight, right? So
Yeah.
you've got to play. You got to play that song.
Get like Bruno Mars or even Wayne Brady would. You know what I mean? Come in and just get all into it.
You got to play
dancing, singing.
You got to play "Living in America." You got to play Hulk Hogan's "I'm a Real American." Do you play Neil Diamond's "Coming to America"? It's not as.
Oh, see. No, because that one's more like. No. I think that one's too sentimental. We're trying to fight here. We're trying to.
Okay, then we break out Toby Keith's "Red, White, and Blue."
We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. I love it. We've done their job for them in Boston tonight. If it doesn't start with this, I just laid it out perfectly. The Jumbotron has got to do that. And it's the image of Trump fighting his hand up. Fight!
Now, Boston's more of I would say more of a liberal city, so they may not embrace that as much as if this was in Dallas.
You know what? It's not about the city. It's about the team.
It is.
About firing these boys up to do what is right, and that's drop the gloves and beat the shit out of those Canucks again. The Team America song Chris suggests.
Oh, that would be perfect. America, F yeah! America, F yeah!
Coming to save. Oh, that's great.
If you're going to do pyrotechnics, we need Kenny Powers there, or we can get the guy,
Somebody suggested Kenny Powers.
Yeah.
I think it goes back perfectly to our first conversation of the day, which is those walkout songs.
Yeah.
Those intimidation walkout songs. But again, does it look better if you just go full Mike Tyson? And that would be, you don't do anything, don't show anything. Just basically say, all right, Canada, you ready?
Cole says, "Party in the USA" by Miley Cyrus always makes me want to fight.
Sure. I can see that.
We talked about Slapshot and how they started the game. You know when you see somebody you don't know, like in an airport or something, they're wearing like a Cyclone or a Hawkeye hat, and you'll go Hawks or go Clones, just to like acknowledge them. I was walking down the Vegas airport the other day, and guys wearing a Charlestown Chiefs jersey. I go, old time hockey.
Perfect.
Yeah, old time hockey. We've been asked this a lot. Are you guys going to do a show after Hawkeye football games? Yes, we're going to do we're going to take the old show and we're going to move it to this platform. There's going to be a couple differences. We're going to start right after the game. We don't have to wait that hour and a half for the Hawkeye postgame to wrap up. So that's coming in the fall, but Linda's asking, and Linda, the answer is yes. We will be doing a version of the show we did on the old corporate network. So 515-517-2303. That is the number to call. It is Thursday. That means Bruno is going to be joining us, though he hasn't popped in yet. I hope he's going to join us. If not, we're okay. We got lots
of other stuff to talk about.
Lots of other stuff to talk about.
Real quick about the Hawkeye call-in show.
Yeah.
Mark Charter.
Yeah.
Says we should, and I would not have known this. It took me some Googling to know what this was. He says we should call, I can't remember what his suggestion was, but do you know what a group of hawks is called?
No. A flock?
I would have thought flock. It's called a kettle. A kettle. A group of hawks is called a kettle.
Okay.
And he had some sort of play on that. But I had to, again, didn't make sense to me because I had to Google it because I'm not smart enough to know that a group of hawks called kettle.
I like the one I like so far, because we've had a lot of suggestions, is the play off the show name The Rush, and that is the Black and Gold Rush.
Yeah.
Which is, we're going to rush right after the game. And
I think that was our buddy John that came up with that.
Might have been.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
But yeah, so we will be doing a post-game show in the fall. It's funny that people are already thinking, well, are you guys going to be here for after Hawkeye games because we need you? That's therapy.
Yeah, Tyler says, where's our animal biologist? A kettle? We sure about that? Can we confirm that with our animal biologist, please?
But if it's confusing to you and me, it's probably going to be confusing to a lot of other people.
Yeah. And since we're waiting for Bruno and we're just killing some minutes here, I also want to go back to something else that I saw in the chat. Oh, is Bruno here now?
No, we got to take a break, but that's
okay.
fine.
Real quick, did you see when we were talking about the Drake DMAC thing? I do think this is kind of funny. And DMAC, why not? Don't take yourself seriously. Lean into this. They should have billboards up right now that say DMAC, they not like us, with a little Drake logo in the corner. Really, they should start to lean into it.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Go, okay, if this is what we're going to do it.
Right.
DMAC, we cost a lot less, and you get the same piece of paper. Well, not the same. You get an associate's degree. But you can go to, okay, guess what? I graduated from Grandview. I got the same piece of paper. Just saying.
I love both. They're both great. I wish this weren't happening because it's just silly. But obviously, I just don't understand it. All right.
Bruno joins us next on the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Oh, boy. That's right, Brian. It's tailgate season, and Central City's got everything a good tailgate needs.
We have all the beer,
All the good party drinks.
And don't forget the White Claw.
hot dogs, brats, and chips.
Kegs and eggs.
And if you fill up your cooler with beer from Central City, we'll throw in the ice for free. By the way, what team is this supposed to represent?
All the teams, Brian. All the teams. I don't discriminate. Tailgate time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
Hey, I'm Mason out here at Mini of Des Moines, one of the motor advisors. Currently this month, Love is in the Air. We are doing a $1,000 mini loyalty on Countryman, $750 on all other models excluding the BEV. Also, we are doing a $500 Conquest cash on select models, so you do get a benefit even if you're not a Mini owner. So for more information, stop at our showroom, come see me. We're happy to get that information going, or see us on our Mini website, miniofdesmoines.com.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines, Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long at therushladio.com. Just click that Listen Live link. You can pick the show up on a continuous loop. If you like to listen to the show on your favorite podcast channel, just download it wherever you listen to your podcasts. Good to have you along on the Rush Radio Show. I'm Travis Justice. He's the man, the myth, the legend, Ross Peterson.
Oh, no, that's when you bring in Bruno, the man, the myth, the legend.
The legend. And I'm going to go down a rabbit hole with Bruno this morning. And we're going to talk soccer. This is against my better judgment, okay? Against my better judgment. I should never talk soccer with Bruno because I don't like talking soccer at all. But they actually played soccer last night. They played soccer in Kansas City. Miami played Sporting KC in what was a 6-degree game and felt like minus 12. Lionel Messi scored the only goal of the game as Miami
played?
Messi played. Hi, Bruno.
Hello. Did
How
you
are
know
you?
about that, Bruno? I didn't even know they were playing. I mean, obviously, this is an exhibition of some type.
No, I saw it, and I'm like, is that a rerun? Is that a replay? Are they warming up for the season? I saw that, and, Travis, I didn't watch it, but it reminds me when Costa Rica came to play the U.S., and they played in Denver.
Yeah,
and
I
they're
remember
playing
that.
in like 7 inches of snow, and the Costa Ricans were super pissed off. They're like, you got to shut her down. We can't play in this. This is unfair. And the Americans are just running out the field, scoring goals. It's like, loving it, like thinking about the old days playing football in the backyard during the winter,
I mean, I can't believe. I mean, it was some tournament or something.
Tyler wrote in and said it was actually the Champions League for North America.
I mean, I know footballs used to play this, but soccer just seems a little. And they actually canceled on Tuesday because it was too cold. Like yesterday wasn't too cold.
Wow.
I don't know, man. I don't. That's weird. I do play soccer in a lot of things. Normally not snow though. But I want to. You didn't give me a chance to lead with this, and Ross always says, "Don't do this." But this is.
But here we go.
Here we go. Look,
but here we go.
I love it.
This is super fun.
It's your world. We're just breathing your air, brother.
Sounds like they're working. Have a great show. Testing your speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working.
Okay, that sounded like crap, but
What? I just heard some lady singing, and it sounded like some
Testing
great.
the speakers on StreamYard. Enjoy your show. It was telling me I feel like I'm set up. I feel like I'm legit now. I have one of these little guys right here.
Wow.
I've got a camera on the top of my laptop that's better than the one I had.
Boy, you're taking this serious.
You're
committed.
I've got my Iowa Premier Canine Astronaut Lounge Captain Royce T-shirt on.
Hey, but can we talk about Captain Royce? How was Shiver on the River last weekend?
Cold.
Yeah.
That was,
that was the point of it. What?
Looked like it was a good turn. I saw pictures
Well,
that
toasty by the river, right?
Yeah, I saw pictures that Chris Meharry had posted. Saw some of my, some of the fun people. Walter Giddens is another one of those dudes that, like, if he's at an event, you're like, oh, this is the cool spot to be. Okay. And I saw pictures of a lot of those people down at Shiver on the River.
There was a lot of them there. Mindy helped out. Here's what it reminded me of. And it's no offense to the captains guys. They're doing their own thing, having a good time, but introducing me into the mix, I don't know. Two people have two different experiences. You mix them together and maybe have a little bit of you get a little bit 1 + 1 = 3 kind of thing. So it reminds me of when Brooks Reynolds came to me and said, hey, or excuse me, the City View went to him and said, hey, what event would you like to see? And he said Bacon Fest. And I'm like, whoa, I got to talk to Brooks next time he's in to have roasted chicken. And he came to the High Life all the time back then, and he still does. I went and sought him out. We talked a little bit. He told me his buddies and he used to go to like a cabin somewhere, and they just bring Tupperware things full of bacon and drink beer and eat bacon out in
and
the woods.
smoke weed. Don't kid yourself. They smoked a lot of weed.
Come on.
Probably so. I mean, whatever. They ate as much bacon as they could, smoked weed till they got hungry again, went back in, drank some beer.
Exactly.
Anyway, turns out that's a great idea. It's a great idea. I know that's a great idea for. I don't know how it works. I've never taken the pot.
I've never taken the pot.
So then I'm like, hey, let's do it at the High Life. So let's take it up a notch. And then we went and we did it at the High Life for 2 years, High Life Bait Shop, and we got 400 people. It, as much as we could fit in. And we're like, I got to take this to another level. The next thing you know, it's Scottish Rite, it's the Wells Fargo Arena, it was the fairgrounds, and Iceland and Denver, Japan. And it had that feeling like they had a really good thing going. At the Bait Shop High Life, we had a good thing going, but it wasn't just quite there yet. That's what it felt like this past weekend. Like all the pieces were in place. 5, 8, and 13, all TV channels came out to see it. It was in the Des Moines Register. There's a lot of pub, and Mindy was involved. You want to take something to the next level.
Mindy Toyne's the secret sauce a lot of
and
times.
And by the way, she was involved with Bacon Fest all along. She's involved with it again.
Yep.
And so it's just the kind of thing that happens. She got involved with the Brew Festival.
I was just going to say, we could go on. Mindy's, if it's a big event in Des Moines, Mindy's probably involved in it somewhere.
And craft beer's taken a hit, and craft beer festivals definitely have taken a hit. Guess what happened last year with Mindy involved at the craft beer festival? Largest crowd ever. So I'm just saying, I love Captain Roy's. I go to every place that I'm a partner in. And I'm lucky to be able to do this. And I look around and go, this place is really cool. I love being at the library. I love being at Lucky Horse. I love being at the Royal Mile, the High Life, the Hessen, the Iowa Tap Room, Ken's. All those places are so much fun. And at Captain Roy's, I love, not this time of year so much, but love sitting there watching the river go by. And there's a band playing. And you get 600,000 bicyclists ride past Captain Roy's. The place is a treasure that not everyone knows about, but name the other place in Des Moines that has a place like that. The bait shop put in bicycle racks, and we said, okay, like originally, like Chip Coyle that owned the library did bicycle rides and drinking and stuff. He's not the first one, I'm sure, but he kind of did it a little bit. I heard about that. So at the bait shop, like, we're close to the river, we're close to the trails. Let's get people bicycling. Let's do some things. And next thing you know, everybody wants to open up a bar that's next to a bike trail. So what's next? Is everyone going to open up a bar next to the river because Captain Roy's is just killing it? Because I think that's next. I mean, I don't know. I will tell you, it's really fun to be there. The food is great. I've taken that up a notch with them, and the people that work there, and that just it's such a neighborhood feel. That's the thing. They've won the neighborhood, like the library say, but they have so much more space. They could get people in and for dinner, for drinks, for whatever, before the summer hits. But we're about to have the summer hit. So
I know you said you've never used the pot. I don't know if I believe that or not. But do any of your establishments sell the climbing kites? Because I had some climbing kites the other day, and I'm going to tell you, I slept like a baby. I kind of like that climbing kites.
That's exactly what I want at my bar, is everyone wanting to sleep like a baby. It really brings the fun. Nothing says fun like people sitting there staring at the wall, staring at each other.
Okay, but you might get them to eat. I'm just saying, I had the climbing kites. It was great.
Well, I'll tell you a couple things, and I'm not an expert, but I will tell you I've studied on it for 8 months. I have not found an insurance company that will actually legitimately give me good insurance. Best I could tell you is that it's like SR22. I've heard of this. I've never had to have it myself, but this is an insurance you get if you've had drunk driving.
That's
and,
what. Okay. Yeah.
And back in 1991, when I had that policy, it was very expensive, and they didn't cover it very well. You had to pay a lot. Deductibles are high, and they didn't cover you like you would, like my State Farm with Doug Gifford and Carroll. So you got that. Federally, it's illegal. You've got the Iowa ABD is not happy to have it in the mix because they don't want to mix alcohol and stuff. And at the end of the day, I never really thought I'd want to open up a place that you could get high at. Now, every one of my places, people get high before they walk in the door. Not everybody, but people do. It's a thing.
That's you're being realistic there.
It's a thing, but I didn't sell it to them. I'm not in the parking lot, selling bags. And they come into my place. I have to already deal with the liquor license, and I can't find insurance. And I don't want to self-insure myself. There's one thing about the world that I've noticed is that when you get a jury of your peers, they like to stick it to the guy who has a business. That guy owns so many bars and restaurants. Well, I actually own part of a lot of bars and restaurants, and we run on slim margins. And by the way, have you noticed things are a lot more expensive? I don't have a lot of money, but the person in the things like, you know what, stick it to them. And the next thing you know, you're $20 million in the hole. And the insurance company's like, well, we did our best and we gave you. And then the next thing you know, the insurance companies want to drop you. So to answer your question, no, we don't sell it.
That was a long way to get. It was a long way to get to know.
But we do sell it. We do sell it to go. I don't have any. I honestly have no problem with it. I also think about it as the smoking. When we first opened the Royal Mile, the Vaudeville Muse, or the lift went non-smoking.
I remember this.
Well, I was like, good for you. That is great. Because I don't really want to breathe secondhand smoke. I smoked back then, though. A lot of people I knew smoked. They put that ban in place. I'm like, if they put the ban in place on a blanket, then I'm in. And we were. And a year later, after the ban went in, I was at the State House saying what a great thing it was. I was in the Des Moines Register saying, now we can invite kids to the Royal Mile. I can order my first high chairs. It just didn't feel right. And my kids were high chair age at that time. So I was really kind of excited. And, a lot of people stopped smoking and things changed. And that was fine. But until they make it legal across the board, where I can't lose my business because I'm kind of singled out as that one place that's, and I also I like to sell beer and I like to sell the other things. So look for us this year to sell a lot of non-alcoholic, low caloric, if possible, items. We're coming up with new
water. Is that what you're talking about? Water?
I think he's talking about Mick Ultra.
Mick Ultra has an NA now, which is funny because I don't even know how that happened. But we're doing recipes. They were working on recipes yesterday for tiki drinks without alcohol.
Nice.
And at Fong's, when we open up, you'll be able to order a tiki drink with no alcohol. But if you want alcohol, we'll put it in there for you. And if you want to have one with and one without, people do have to drive home. They have families and responsibilities. They want to wake up in the morning. It's things we're going to offer this year. That's kind of, I think, what people are looking for, the THC also, not just to sleep, but I hear that too, but they want to wake up the next morning and not feel like they drank, the whole bar.
Yeah. Yeah. Have fun that evening, let loose, get off center a little bit with a bit of a buzz and wake up the next morning and
yeah. And I want to say, I have nothing against these products. I'm just saying, as an owner, you go out in the world, and if you want to tell you, why don't you carry that stuff? It's like, I have a lot of people that are responsible for us to keep ourselves in business, and we're not going to self-insure and take a big risk in a really untested market just so we can make some money. I mean, it's just ultimately it's just making a little bit more money when we could use it right now, but the downside is so great. So that's my rant on all things.
Bruno, thanks for that. I think that I found that super interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, some of that I knew. You and I have talked a little bit about some of those things. And
there's so many things that go into it. It's just like when I go and say, hey, you know what? Just imagine what it's like to have to sell somebody alcohol that you. I mean, I'm guessing everyone here has experienced somebody who's find out they are an alcoholic. You didn't even know it. You're like, I never even knew you were drunk when I was hanging out with you. You know, well, they are. How do you know when somebody's been overserved? How do you know that they didn't drink a pint of vodka in their car before they walked in the door? We have to be responsible for that person when they walk in the door. If we serve them a drink, it's our responsibility from there on out. When somebody has a deadly crash, they go to they call it place of last served. And if the place of last served is Hy-Vee or Casey's or Come and Go, that doesn't matter because they bought it to go. They're not drinking it inside there. But if they came in, the one before that was us, then we're totally responsible. And it's just how it works, and it sucks, but that's what it is. And so we have that thing. And so why would we add on? That's what insurance companies aren't looking for. They're now out there going like, I wonder how we could get some more risk onto our portfolio. Right. You know? And so, I mean, there are people that are coming out. It's like, I'll insure you. It's like, it's like almost like bookies back in the day. Yeah. You can go place a bet. Just talk to the, well, I'm not going to use the same town, use the mayor of Huxley, which it wasn't. I had a friend in college who was from a town in Iowa, the former mayor of that town, and it wasn't Huxley. I shouldn't have said Huxley because it wasn't. He's like, I placed my bets through that guy. Well, now you can get on your app and you can do whatever, or go to a casino in the state.
Mayor was running book, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a high risk. It's a high risk there. You know, that's the way insurance is right now for all this. It's like, I'll insure you, but like, based on what? Like, how many people do you have set up in your network that are paying into the policy to cover, you know, these accidents that happen are millions of dollars. They sue for millions of dollars. So, I mean, especially, God forbid, somebody passes away in that accident. So, anyway, are we done?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
This felt like a deposition, didn't it?
Here, I'll tell you. Here's. You know what I am tired of? I am tired of how cold it is. It is brutal.
We're almost done, man. We're almost done. Have you looked at the
3 days of school starting late? We're almost done. I know we're on the edge. My daughters are going skiing up in Minnesota. God help their souls. You know, that's something. But you know what you like to do this time of year, and I'm already thinking about it? Taking a vacation. Have you ever heard about this guy, the New Jersey man who spent $510,000 back in 1990 with United Airlines?
No.
He bought a pass. That's for two, him and a companion.
Oh, I did hear this.
24. He's flown 24 million miles since on this lifetime pass for $510,000.
That incredible.
He's gone to.
Was that a first class ticket too?
I'm not sure.
Man, Trav, I feel like I did see that part of this story.
He said it was the best investment of my life. He said afforded a lifestyle that many travel enthusiasts can only dream of. He explored more than 100 countries, celebrated more than 120 honeymoons with his wife. I don't know how you do that.
Because every time you get on a plane, it's a honeymoon. Yeah.
He equates to approximately $1.19 million in 2023. Calculated out. Yeah, it's insane. Flew with the same carrier. The story continues, but the story really is just, boy, wouldn't that be cool? 100 countries.
I mean, in 500,000 is a lot of money, but if you get a first class ticket and you get it the rest of your life, hell yeah. I mean, if you have the means, that is a pretty darn good deal.
I mean, this time of year, you're thinking, man, I want to go to Caribbean, Mexico, somewhere warm. They call it the happiness bump. That if this kind of just the feeling of thinking about taking a trip is really good. Like, it makes you excited. Like, I can't wait until I do X, Y,
Bruno,
or Z.
that is the magic of our fishing trip, right?
Correct.
Is you spend 6 months anticipating, and then you spend 6 months remembering, and then 6 months anticipating, and 6 months remembering. It's a year-long thing. My trek that I took through Spain and Portugal, man, that thing gives. Every Sunday when I'm in church, I think about something about that trek, and it constantly gives to me.
Yeah, it's anticipation of going, and then after if there was a really bad part of it, it's something that's one of the memories. Or if there's something that just you couldn't believe what you saw or experienced, it's just all those memories. Taking trips as so much more of a lasting. They call it the hedonic wheel or whatever. You go buy a new sweatshirt, and you're like, man, this thing's cool. And then the third time you wear it, you forgot that you even cared it's cool. But you'll talk about your trip on the Camino for a lifetime.
It's a good way to put it. So, speaking of those trips, okay, go ahead, Draft.
No, so just to let you know, we gotta wrap up.
That's right. Go ahead.
We're coming up. So let's just do one more minute. We'll just wrap it up with that last commercial break. Because
okay. Well,
what happens is we stop recording at like 8:01. So if we go to the podcast, whatever we talk about won't be on.
Well, the word of the day is Confluence Brewing. I'm going to be with John Martin, the founder, at the library tomorrow. Starts at 4. We're going to have a lot of cool Confluence beers. Make sure you stop out. Ross, what did you have to say?
I was going to say Bruno is unfortunately not going to be able to go on our Canadian fishing trip this year. So I hate to do this my group of friends and I go up there every year. But the island sells out. With Bruno not going, that means there's going to be an open bed on on Black Island. Second week of July.
I believe so, yeah. It's right
is
after
when
4.
we are headed up there. Something like that. July 7th or something like that.
I was totally locked in. I had so many things, but I just can't. And
it's all right.
If you can go, it is amazing food, I've heard the fishing is supposed to be the best that we might ever see is earlier in July is better than what we have been. If you can sign up, go to wherever you go.
Yeah, I mean, really, and this isn't a sponsored thing. This is not, but if that's something that would interest you, yeah, it's Ballard's Black Island, and just call Ballard's Resort and say, hey, I heard Ross saying this morning that I don't. Do they know, Bruno? Does Danielle know that you're?
No, but I'll reply after this. I have an email.
Let her know that
reply and say, hey, we're trying to fill the spot, but
yeah.
I just can't. It doesn't fit my schedule this year.
All right, there you go, Trav. There's a minute.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Hey, we're going to wrap today's shows up. Thanks for listening to the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
Doug Burgess, Service Manager here at Willis Infinity. As we move into 2025, I want to say one final thank you for what 2024 has brought to us. Getting the opportunity to meet many of your customers, and for you, voting us the #1 Google-ranked dealership in the Midwest. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to know why, and to have that Willis experience yourself, stop on in or go online to make your appointment at willisinfinity.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's Valentine's month and sweet deals are in the air. Hi, I'm Josh Romick, Service Manager at Willis Lexus. We have our popular Spend More and Save More with up to a 25% discount on services over $1,000. And don't forget about our Lexus Tire Price Match Promise. Find the right tire at the right price. We'll match any advertised price on tires. If you'd like to schedule, give us a call or visit us online at willislexus.com. Have a happy Valentine's Day.
Not too many places hit all the right notes. But when it comes to great atmosphere and delicious scratch-made food, Truman's is the name to know. Game days are for Chiefs fans, but every day is for the food fans. Truman's, get to know us by name.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.